job dependent the 3-point line, but usually when the 3-point line, you also get hurt by layups, and the combination of those two things together are kind of the backbreaker. So you got to play good all around defense. You can't just get fixated with one thing and feel like you did a good job protecting the 3-point line, but then they make a bunch of layups and free throws. That's also a recipe for a tough night.
Well, on that note, they're shooting about 63% on 2-pointers. So have you noticed that teams, if they over guard, that they'll just
for sure. I think in general in basketball that happens. Yeah, if you're so committed to taking away the three and you're spacing the floor with shooters, obviously there's not a lot of bodies left to help in the paint. So you got to kind of pick your poison with some of this stuff, and it always starts with the best job in any defense. The better job you can do on the ball, the better chance you have to be successful. So you want to do a good job on the ball. You want to have great discipline, and that's not easy because they put you in a lot of tough situations.
Seems like because of the bigs, especially that you have this year, you're the opposite, not shooting a lot of threes as a percentage.
Yeah, it's been interesting how it's played out. It hasn't been. I'm not going to act like I've told our guys not to shoot threes because that's not the case. It's just kind of the decisions they're making. And, if you have guys that are, maybe turning down threes to get the other stuff and it's working out, I think you're comfortable doing that. Obviously, we're comfortable playing in the paint, playing through our bigs. It's been a successful recipe for us, and we got a conviction with it. So, and hey, we're working on shooting every day. I don't think we're a bad shooting team. We just, at this point, haven't been a high-volume 3-point shooting team.
When you look at the confidence that Ivon is displaying out there, is that simply because he comes from a European club situation where he's playing a lot of older guys?
Yeah, for sure. You could probably, chalk some of it up to that. But the other thing is he's just a confident person. He's a confident person, and he's a hard worker, and he prepares well. I think, his confidence is probably something he's carried with him his entire basketball career. And so, there's not too many stages where I think he feels overwhelmed, and he's not surprised by too many things. So obviously, we're very happy with where he's at, and I'm excited to see him continue to take the next steps.
I know he's already played against Alabama once before, but is there anything to having Jaden go against a former team and maybe in that environment that he had previously played in?
I don't think so. Obviously I'll let JB speak for himself, when he gets the opportunity. But Jaden's not a vindictive person. I don't think his experience at Alabama, the transfer was because he feels slighted in any way, shape, or form. And he made a decision to transfer to Arizona, and I think at that point there's no looking back, and that's how he approaches it. So, obviously he has some ties there, and people will probably try to make it a story when I really honestly don't think it's much of a story on either side.
How different of a player is he now compared to the guy you saw when recruiting him?
Well, he's obviously gotten more polished, and that just comes with with time. And I'm not gonna give ourselves any credit above and beyond. I think JB gets all the credit. He's hung with it. He's developed some really a lot of certainty in his game where he can go out there and he can play and execute with confidence. So Jaden gets a lot of credit. He's obviously a really good player, and he's put in a lot of work to become that player.
Kind of on that note, he's played a lot of great point guards this season already. Last time he gets another one. Saturday, just his ability to kind of rise to the occasion.
Which point guard are you talking about? JB? Yeah, oh, okay, I thought you were talking about theirs. Yeah, Jaden obviously. I don't think, I don't think his pulse changes. When it's a perceived big time matchup or anything like that. I think he just goes out and plays, and he kind of has that ice in his veins type approach, and I don't know if it's going to work every day, but obviously it's been really successful so far this season, and I don't want to put the pressure on Jaden to save the day for us every game. I don't think that's fair to any player. So, he just obviously he's a guy that's not afraid of big moments and big games, and he's performed really well in those.
That game 2 years ago, do you look at that or think about that as far as preparing, or is that too old? And especially with the way Jaden played too, I was wondering if that applies. He struggled in foul trouble.
Yeah,
but it was.
I don't remember particularly how Jaden played in that game. I mean, obviously, you can look at it as a little bit of a guide. I mean, I think both teams have a kind of an established identity and established style of play that, that probably has, changed a little bit, but probably not drastically. So, yeah, I mean, it could be a blueprint to go look at, but by no means does it mean, you go and did the things you did in that game and you're going to get the result you want. I mean, these are two different teams, and so, yeah, we're going to have to go out, and obviously it's going to be a really challenging environment against a really good team that has an ability to play at a really frenetic pace and can wear their opponents down. So we've got to have great endurance competitively this game.
Do you think Jaden had to go back to testify in that trial last spring? Do you think that had any effect on him one way or another? Just happened?
I mean, again, I'm going to let Jaden speak for himself. I mean, Jaden and I haven't had any conversations about that stuff. I mean, obviously we support Jaden in everything he's done, but I'll let him speak to that himself. And like I said, I think Jaden Bradley is about 100th percentile when it comes to character and person, and so, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll let him speak to that stuff.
Downplayed the number one rankings and all of the rankings, but was there a different step at all in the team being
Nope.
number one?
Nope.
How do you I don't know if it's cautious at all, but Alabama last game, for instance, shot 57 threes. How do you make sure your team doesn't say, okay, we need to match, kind of get carried away, like they're shooting threes, we need to shoot threes to kind of keep
Well,
up?
you have things you value, and you have an identity, and you make sure you're honoring your values and you're honoring your identity. It's not much more complicated than that. We're going to play Arizona basketball. They're going to play Alabama basketball. Both styles can be really effective, and probably both teams are going to have to kind of figure it out over the course of the game.
You guys briefly looked at LeBaron Philon as a recruit. I was just curious your thoughts, the way he's developed. He seemed like he's really got a great watch on.
I don't remember us looking at him, and obviously he's a really good player. I mean, so sometimes, Bruce, you know more about our recruiting than I do. Yeah, I mean, he's a really talented player. I mean, both those guards, man, they're just a dynamic duo, and the speed, quickness, ability to shoot the ball, ability to get to the rim, ability to play downhill, ability to play in tight spaces, just really good players. And then they're playing in a system that allows them to be consistently aggressive every single possession. So they're a handful.
Notes has said to the fans, hoping that they get a really good turnout there to get the strong environment, even though it's not technically a home game. Do you feel like that's kind of how it worked for you guys 2 years ago in Phoenix, that it felt like a home game?
I mean, I think the fans should just stay home and watch it on TV. I mean, I think it'll be a great broadcast on ESPN. There's a lot of other good games that day, and I don't know if I would get in my car and go to the game. I'd probably just sit home and watch all the other games, is what I would do. Yeah, I mean, obviously, last time we played them, I mean, the thing I remember about Phoenix was a late tip, and we had a fun crowd. I mean, I think our fans had some fun before they entered the arena, and I think that carried over to the course of an exciting game, which is awesome. And and I expect, I mean, the atmosphere is going to be great in Birmingham, and we love playing in those types of venues, and we're excited for the challenge.
Would you consider this like a road game because of how?
I mean,
the
for sure, it's
process-
more of a road game than a home game. Yeah, so but again, we're of the mindset. Obviously we love playing at McKale. I mean, we just got off the practice floor, and anytime we can play in McKale is a good day. But we also understand in the bigger picture, we've got to be able to do good work away from home. So we're going to approach that as such.
Out of the early foul trouble in the last game, picked up a few late, but what did you just like about the way he defended?
About who? Braden. Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think Braden is really trending in the right direction, and obviously we know how good of a player he is, and I think his practice habits are picking up. I think his comfort in these games is picking up, and I'm excited to see in 2 weeks what Braden Burries looks like, because I think he's in a sweet spot right now where if he goes for it, there's real growth opportunities right in front of him.
I know you said you're kind of been a student of Arizona basketball history. People have told you things and all that. Has anybody mentioned the '97 Birmingham? They went through Birmingham to go to the Final Four.
No.
Same arena.
Just you. Anything I need to know?
Just wondering if you heard now they beat Kansas there. Kansas was
It's kind of a big
flying
deal.
at that time.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's good. That's great stories. I need to look that up. No, that's good
Yeah,
stuff.
it was the
I
same
love
place.
that. No, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it, but yeah, no, we're excited to get back there.
What were you doing in '97? Were you in college?
What day?
Late March, early April?
You're still at
During the
Whitman, right?
tournament?
Yeah, I was
You
probably
were at
still at
Whitman?
Whitman College. Yeah, still at Whitman College.
Were you watching basketball, like the tournament?
I mean, sure, for sure I was. Yeah, I mean, I'm always watching basketball. Yeah. Yeah, no.
Ko's been as good or if not better than expected coming in, and he's had a lot of success in all different levels, but how have you seen him grown from the start of the season till now?
I just think his understanding of, what it takes to be successful at this level and his understanding of what we're trying to do. I mean, there's a lot of superlatives you could say about Koa, and one of them is he has a really high basketball IQ and he's a great learner. So, yeah, I mean, he just continues to learn and, play the game the right way. And I think to me that's been the most impressive thing, is just how consistently he plays the game the right way.
I'm just curious, you guys are leaving tomorrow. Do you guys have a threshold on when you go 2 days or versus 1 day, like a certain distance or?
Not that I'm aware of. Yeah.
Why did you decide one?
I mean, from what I heard, it's only a 2.5 hour flight. Yeah, that was what was told to me. So, and only one time zone. Yeah, all good stuff. Yeah. Sorry, Bruce, I don't got anything for you there.
Well, you've been pretty good, and we should chart this, but I believe you're pretty good in 2 days, going 2 days before, like you come.
Well, let's go. Can we get the plane loaded up right now? Like, all right, guys. Thank you.
All right, fire away, questions?
Bruce?
Challenges in facing a team that shoots as many threes as Alabama does.
Yeah, just being disciplined. Obviously, getting out there, knowing what they want to do, contesting them as best as we can, and then making sure we, rebound those long shots, trying to turn them into fast break points for us.
Is there ever a worry about having to try to match a team if they start hitting threes, that you need to score the same way, or do you just need to stick with your game plan?
No, obviously you adjust as the game goes on, but I don't think there's any pressure to change who we are as a team. I think we'll just stick to what we've been doing all year, and if they're hitting a bunch of threes, doesn't mean we have to shoot a bunch of threes. So I think we'll just play it by ear.
Just being a three-point shooter yourself at a high rate, what do you make of them when you watch the way they play and as much as they spread it and shoot?
Yeah, they play super fast. Obviously, shoot a bunch of threes. High clip, high pace. It's hard to guard. You just gotta stay disciplined. You can really take advantage of that if you play the right way and like I said, crash the glass and really get runouts.
Do you think it's hard for a team to get good looks consistently when they're taking that many from outside? Like, is it just a first opportunity thing that they're seeing, or does it look like
their offense?
Yeah, does it look like they're getting good looks?
Yeah, obviously I think, there could be some questionable ones in there. It depends on your coach, depends on your team, what your philosophies are for offense. But they obviously, have the record of playing like that, and they're more than capable of making those shots. So, if they're able to take whatever they took 50-some threes, they've obviously been practicing that. So, if that was us, I don't know if that'd be the same deal, but we're a different team.
Well, and you say that, and you guys are taking so few in a game and had some really low ones. Why do you think that has been the case so far?
We've just been so dominant in the paint. I don't think it's a matter of you can't do one or the other. I think it's just that's the way the games have gone so far. We've made an emphasis to get in the paint and put foul pressure on all that kind of stuff. And that's we're a big physical team, so we're just playing to our strengths.
You guys have a pretty unique dynamic where half the starters are freshmen and half the starters are seniors or juniors. How would you describe that dynamic?
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, you got a different feel than, a lot of other teams. A lot of guys learning on the fly, and a lot of guys trying to give their experience. It's cool to see. The freshmen are really good. The guys who are returning are really good, and it's been a good bond for us, throughout the year.
Do you think you guys felt anything different by being ranked number one this week? Does it matter at all? Do you feel like maybe you'd be targeted a little more or anything like that?
No. I really don't think it matters too much.
Yeah. Because I wonder too, like, especially being from Australia, of all that stuff, it's like whatever when you get here. You've been in the States for a while, but I didn't know how, the system, the way, the rankings and that stuff.
Yeah, it's really like cool for about 2 minutes. You say like, oh, that's pretty cool, and then you go on about your day.
What do you think about JB going back there? I know it's pretty common nowadays. Guys play against their old teams, and this was a long time ago when he played for Alabama. But has he mentioned anything to you or anybody else, or do you think it'll matter to him just being back in that state league?
Yeah, we don't talk about it. I don't think it plays a huge part. Obviously, there could be some, value that he has, personally. But at the end of the day, he's with us, and we want nothing more to beat them for him, and give back to kind of what he went through and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's anything more than, anything personal or anything like that.
If you had to identify one thing that you think you guys as a team have struggled at, what would it be?
I don't know. What are we, 8-0, 9-0?
Sure, but usually coaches will still find a way to point out, well, we're not as good as we should be in this. Or something. Is there something that has been identified?
I would just say, staying disciplined to keep working, can't get caught up in the wins and act like we're perfect. Just continuously bring the effort and the energy in practice. Keep getting better. I think once you get ahead of yourself, it's when you get caught.
Just your perspective on a year ago, your first year here, you guys are 4-5 at this time, or 4-4, going to be 4-5. And now you're undefeated, number one, whatever. What the takeaways? What's going better in your picture, in your mind, this year?
Yeah, you just obviously different team, play different people, but you learn from that. We could have quite easily, just dropped down. Felt sorry for ourselves last year, and after we hit that 4-5 stretch, we really turned it around, and I went undefeated in the Big 12 for a long stretch, and that kind of helped us learn things bringing into this year, so we didn't have to start behind the 8 ball. I think we've really just shown that we've made big improvements from last year. The way we play, just just I think it's just the understanding of going through those hard times, what we needed to do and what fixed it and what's working for us.
Do you think it's helped, just especially with you and Tobe playing the roles you have, opposed to last year you guys were kind of thrashing around with different starting lineups, different rotation. It's been consistent, right? This year, has that made a difference? Or?
I don't really think of it either way. I think it could be, it could not be. I don't really look into this. That's more of a coach's, I guess, question or thing for them to think. Me, Tobe, whoever's in starters, whatever, you just go in and do what the scout is and play hard and the coaches kind of take care of it.
I'm just wondering, as a player, do you feel like, okay, you know what your role is? Is it clear when you go out there or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little easier knowing kind of what you're stepping into. You can prepare better. You can feel more comfortable out there, obviously. But, I mean, the way the sport is, the higher level you go, you got to be, better at playing in uncontrollable situations. So, the NBA is a great example of that. You got to be ready at all times, for 1 minute or 20 minutes. So, I think that's preparing us well for that next stage.
All set.
Thanks a lot.
Cool.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.